More ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. Smile!
Welcome to the OutRunners podcast. My name is Taylor Rockwell, but you can call me Tay-Rock.
Hi, my name is Kitty, but you can call me Kit. What was it? Kit, Kit Kat, and Cat. I
But don't call me
already forgot.
Katija. We have so much to talk about, starting with I just paced a 100-mile in Rocky Raccoon.
Wait. You also ran 100K,
Yeah,
right?
so I ran the 100K in January, and then 3 weeks later, I ran the Rocky Raccoon 100 mile. So
Yeah.
that's new. And then I just ran Austin Marathon yesterday, and I have Rock and Roll half marathon next week.
Okay. Who is making the diary? Because I need to speak to them.
Yeah, I
need to
think I'd
speak.
get FOMO, honestly. Like, thinking about not going to the races makes me sad, so I'd rather be tired at the race than not go to the race at all.
That was me yesterday. And bear in mind, I ran 48 miles the day before. So Saturday, I ran 48 miles. And yesterday, Sunday, I was watching everyone run Austin Marathon. And I was just laying in my bed, dying from post the ultra that I ran, thinking, I wish I was there too. Why am I not there? Why am I not running with everyone else?
Honestly, I wish you were here because the miles we would run together, the content we would make, it would be so much more fun if you were by my side.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have questions for you.
Okay, hit
For
me.
the two races, 100K and the 100-mile pacing. So why 100K?
Yeah, why 100K? You are who you surround yourself with, and somebody said, "Hey, I'm doing this, you should do it." And without a thought or even any thinking past that, I just said, "Okay."
So it was like one day you want to run 100K and you're like, yeah, let's do it. And like a few days later, you're on the course and you're doing it.
Oh no, it literally was a Monday. They sent it to me and I was just like, yeah, sounds fun. On Wednesday, I registered. On Friday, I picked up my bib. And on Saturday and Sunday, I was dying and fighting for my life. Like, it was less than 5 days decision.
Okay, so me asking you a question, the expectations versus reality, there's no point me asking because like you literally just said yes, paid and picked up your bib. So I think maybe your brain didn't manage to make any expectations.
I guess like I was just excited to experience, and like I've never ran that distance before, but I wasn't like, can I run that distance, or what is it going to be like? I was just like, oh, I can run a 50K, so I can run a 100K. Like, it didn't really process, or I didn't even think about how long it would take me. It took me 22 hours to run a 100K. And not for 1 second did I think like, oh, it's gonna take me 22 hours on my feet. I'm gonna run through the night. I'm gonna be cold during the morning, hot during the day, and then cold through the night again. None of that planning went through my brain. It was just all like first time experience. I just started running and I just didn't stop until I had the opportunity, until they gave me my buckle and said, "Here you go, you can officially stop running." So my expectation was just to experience, so I guess in reality that's what happened. I experienced, but it was very like unplanned experience. So much to the point where I didn't even bring warm clothes. I just hopped out that morning and it was so cold where I was like, is anything in the car? And my outfit just was a mismatch of what was ever in my car, which thank God, because it ended up being 30 degrees that night. So I'm glad that I had some warm clothes on me.
Do you think that not having the expectations actually helped you in a way that you did not have the time to overthink the whole process? Like, do you have enough the clothes? Do you have enough everything? Or was it kind of like you would not suggest for others to do? Because I want to do 100K one day. And I'm just like, do I do it the same way that I just sign up when I'm going and running, or do I plan it a bit more?
I used to get so nervous for my races, starting with half marathon to marathon. And I've had races where I've showed up to that start line feeling like I'm going to throw up. And I honestly feel shallow and almost like I want to hold myself, like make myself small. And in those races, yes, I'm still having fun, but the experience seems to be be different because I think my expectation is like, I'm so nervous because I want to perform so well. And then I've had other experiences where I literally have just showed up, similar to the 100K. I definitely want to talk about this in pacing, but I get no nerves when I pace at all. And I just paced the Rocky Raccoon 100 mile, and then yesterday I paced the Austin Marathon. Not 1 second did I get nervous or even have any anxiety or any anticipation. And I really think it stems from not having expectations to perform. And instead, the only expectation is to go and have fun and experience. Well, it's so much easier to say, like, oh, let's just go and have fun, right? Like, yeah, we're having fun. Even if you're nervous, you're having fun. But how do we actually get rid of the nerves and how do we get rid of that anticipation to be able to go and perform better? Because you know when you're like in a hurry and you're getting ready to leave the house and you're like just like frantic and moving your hands quick and like things are falling and you're fumbling and like
Mm.
everything's a mess. I feel like that's how some of the events will be. If you put too much expectation, you get nerves. But if you just go and you're just calm, cool, and collected, just put your shoes on normal, brush your hair as normal, you'll still get there on time, but you
Yeah.
avoided all the anxiety. So that's something I'm kind of playing with now is like, how do I manage my own nerves? Because when I'm not nervous, I perform better, I have more fun, and I am more like alive, like present. But if I'm nervous and feeling shallow, then I'm not present and also I'm not enjoying. So my advice to you, if you're gonna do the 100K, is I would say prep, but prep in a way that isn't with expectation. So, like, have warm clothes without the expectation of it getting cold, and like have water and nutrition, but without the expectation that you have to drink and eat it all. Like, I
Mhm.
think plan so you have resources and you're not like fumbling, like, oh, I should have prepped for this. But so that way you're not, oh, I have to wear this outfit. I have to eat this by mile, whatever. I need to have ingested this many calories. It's like, yes, that's all true. And it's important to take care of your nutrition. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't plan for when you don't want to eat. And like you can't plan for when the weather drops below a temperature you weren't prepared for or anything like that. And that's kind of part of the fun. And in those moments, just start laughing.
I'm just thinking because it's not just about the 100K, because all my races have always been very planned out in months in advance. But I also have like raced all my races. I think the only race I didn't, care about the pace was the Hawaii that we did together. And I'm just thinking, you telling your experience, how you just went kind of like blind into it. I'm thinking how it would be for me, like, oh, I'm going to book a race for next week. Sort of thing. Not 100K, maybe something a bit less, because I don't know if I'm ready for 100K. But, and also I sometimes feel like there's this massive build up for the race for months and months and months. And then after it's done, it's kind of like, oh, what now? you know and I feel like when you go into the race a bit like, okay, let's do it, then you don't have that build up. So I want to
Yeah.
play with that. I want to
What
take a page out of your book and just show up, kind of thing.
Yeah, I have two things based off what you just said. One is the idea of like stay ready, you never have to get ready. Cause like
Mm.
at this point, you and I are capable of running marathons. Like it's not can we do it? It's like how fast, how good, whatever, what experience we want to have. So when it comes to like racing, in my brain, it's like, well, when people ask, what are you racing for? I'm like, oh, I have a couple of things on my calendar, but like I'm not really training for them. I just run every single week. And when the date comes, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a race this weekend. It's not like I'm on this like crazy intense training plan and I need to be strict to it. And if I miss a workout or I miss a run, then like I'm not going to hit my PR. Like it's not that deep. It's like really just running, being able to run, appreciating you can run, showing up and running. I feel like takes a lot of the pressure to have to perform and those expectations off. And I feel like I used to do that where I had only one race on my calendar. So I would do all my runs focusing on making sure I was prepared for that race. But now it's like just run. And when the race comes, you're more than capable, you're more than willing. So just have fun and experience. I mean, there will be a day where probably you run 100K and you treat it as lightly as a marathon where you're like, oh, it's just 100K.
Imagine, oh, what did you do this week? Oh, I just raced 100K. And they're like, You did what?
Yeah. And then there was a second thing that you said that I wanted to hit on. You said, like, in Hawaii, you were just showing up, you had zero expectation, we were just party pacing.
Mm.
So what was that experience like, not having the pressure to perform? Did you have nerves that morning? Did you have more fun? I know you and I, like, chatted to a million people on the course, maybe an opportunity you wouldn't have had if you were focused internally. What is your reflection on that?
That's by far my favorite race I have ever done. It's just, I was a little bit worried because I didn't have enough gels, but then also because I knew I'm not trying to get a certain time. I'm just there to have a good time. You know, I didn't have this like need to push myself if I didn't feel like it. You know, I could just go and have fun and I could just go and just do whatever feels like doing, you know, because we were running most of it together as well. And then we split at some time. And it was like, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm still having fun. I'm in Hawaii, seeing all these views and everything. Like, it's amazing. But I also think I had to come to that point because I kind of like raced my races before, if that makes sense. You know, I kind of got that, like, I still want to get a certain time in a marathon at some point, but I had those previous marathons where I actually raced, and then I got to the point, okay, I can have fun now. And that was like, it was so, okay, I don't want to say easy because marathon is not easy, but it was just like, so like, yeah, we are running a marathon. We're going to have fun. The views are going to be amazing. Like, I don't care. It was raining. It was like, so what? You know, like, it's just water kind of thing. And like, it's not, there's no pressure. You just do whatever. You want to walk, you walk. You want to run fast, you run fast. You feel like you're a little bit tired, you slow down. Like, it was just fun. I think, like, genuinely, that is my favorite race I have ever done.
Me too. Honolulu definitely was probably the beginning of what I'm about to say because Honolulu was December 2025. We're recording this February 2026, so just 2, 3 months later. And I've been having this overwhelming feeling from last month to this month to pace people. And not only pace them, but it's this gratitude that lives inside me that exactly what you said. I can run a fast race if I wanted to. I can run a far race if I wanted to. But can I help other people achieve their first marathon? Can I be of
Mm.
service to these people who potentially they can run the journey on their own, but if I was running with them, could they do it better, faster, funner? And so I've been having this just feeling that I need to give back to the sport. And since then, I paced the Rocky Raccoon 100 and I paced Austin Marathon. And getting both of those runners to their finish line probably was more fulfilling and more rewarding than if I would have ran both of those races on my own with my own intentions of goals, expectations, or just even to experience. The experience in itself was more rewarding to do it alongside them.
Interesting. I think we are even spoke about it. Was it not yesterday, day before, when I was running the ultra, you called me and we were laughing how we were talking about how far I am in the whole ultra, in the whole challenge. And then I was like, yeah, and Chris is running, he's like two hours behind me. He's doing amazing. Can't believe he has run, like, at that point, I think it was like 32 miles. And you was kind of like, but you have done 40 miles. And I was like, yeah. And we were kind of like laughing about it, how all achievements don't seem as big as they seem when somebody else does them, you know? And I have that, like, yes, I can run a marathon, but if somebody runs 5K, 10K, or runs a marathon, I'm more excited for them than I am for me. And having, because I have never paced anyone. You have, you know, beautiful experience. I want to know how that feels as well, because you have inspired me to maybe do that one day as well. Maybe I will be able to be somebody else's support as well. Then I also want to ask you what you have learned about endurance from watching somebody else suffer.
Yeah, that's a really good question because I've been reflecting a lot on why is pacing a race such a different experience, especially in the further ones, like 100 miles, because I still ran 50 miles, but it didn't feel that way. So what is it about pacing them that's so different than if I were to be running my own race? And I think the lessons that I'm learning is when I'm out there pacing, so I pace C for his 100 mile. And when I'm out there pacing him, all my thoughts are focused on the runner. Did he eat enough? Did he drink enough? I'm doing check-ins. How's the body feeling? I'm scoping the mat. I'm scoping the course for him. You know, where's the best way for us to go that's less intense? And if there's tree trunks or rocks, I'm pointing them out, high knees, making sure he doesn't trip and fall. And so my entire service at that time is simply just to make their experience enhanced and to be of support of them. And so even though I'm on the course, I'm drinking, I'm eating, I'm also being aware of my surroundings, but my mind isn't going internal. I'm not asking myself how I feel in these moments. I'm asking myself, am I being of service to support them? And it wasn't until I got C to the finish line of his 100-mile race that we cheered, we hugged, we were so excited. And then I got to the car, and all of a sudden I was just like, I am so tired. And it was only in that moment that I realized how tired I was. And I think if it was my own event, my own race, I probably would have been more aware of that fatigue and tiredness way sooner. But having like the selflessness to only think about them on their journey has really had me questioning, how do I summon that same experience for myself? When I am racing for myself, how do I allow myself to go somewhere else that I don't feel the tiredness, I don't feel the fatigue until I cross that finish line? So that's something I'm experiencing and also reflecting upon and also experimenting with in my next journeys, because I feel like pacing and those experiences alone have taught me so much about endurance running in itself that I want to be able to understand that feeling, hopefully capsulate it in some way that I can go into it, unlock it, use it when I need it for my own racing journey. Because I feel like if I can summon that energy on my own race days, potentially that'll be a game changer for how I moving forward.
That's very interesting because I remember talking to you afterwards and I was like, how are you feeling? And you were like, yeah. And you kind of like more spoke about how C was feeling. And I'm like, no, girl, you also run 50 miles, you know, you need to rest and you need to do all those things. And it's almost like you forgot that you just did that because your sole focus was on the other person.
So far in my reflections is this. I was running, it's 3 a.m., and I am tired. I'm tired physically, I'm tired like mentally more so, but in no way was I gonna tell C that, because even though I'm on mile 30, he's on mile 70. And so I'm not gonna say, oh wow, I'm tired right now, because what good does that do to him? It adds to the momentum of him being tired. If I say out loud, I'm tired, then it puts in his head, he's also tired. So instead, I would summon this energy that's like, we're alive, we're awake, we're well. And I would just be happy, upbeat, because I felt like that was the momentum that he needed to carry forward. So that's where I'm experimenting with my reflection, is when I'm, let's say, in any race in a pain cave and I'm starting to struggle, almost like, can I gaslight myself into thinking
Mm.
we're having so much fun and like not admitting that I'm tired, not surrendering to the thoughts that I'm even tired, and truly just tricking my brain into thinking when I'm tired, when I'm having a hard time, that that's when it's the most fun and that's when I need to start cheering. That's what I'm experimenting with. And I think truly that's how I'm going to move and start operating moving forward to help me reach new depths in my running journey. But I'm still experimenting, so more to come, I guess.
I once said to somebody, you can wake up in the morning and be in a good mood, and you can wake up in the morning and be in a bad mood, but you can also choose to be in a good mood. You know, I genuinely, like, it might sound a bit delusional, but I genuinely do think you can change your mindset any minute. You know, if you wake up and you're sad, like, why are you sad? Be happy. Like, if you can be sad, you can be happy, you know? So I feel like I actually had that this Saturday when I was running the last lap. I literally, like, last 2 miles, I sprinted. Like, I was tired, but I still sprinted because I was like, I'm fine. Yes, I'm a little bit tired, but like, I know I can run on tired legs, you know? Nothing is hurting to the point like that I would have injury or anything like that. It's just a bit of fatigue. I sprinted the last 2 miles. Like, well, in my head, I sprinted them. Well, I did, but like it wasn't like an actual really fast pace, but like I was still able because I kind of like switched the mindset. And the only kind of thing that was fueling me was the faster I go, the faster it's over. And that's all that it took for me to go from 10 minutes per mile to like 8 minutes per mile. And how weird it is when we change how we think about the moment you are in. It's interesting that you having that experience of changing, not changing your mindset because you were in the mindset that you can keep going and that you have the energy for somebody else. Then now you need to learn how to also have it for yourself when you don't have that other person to give that energy to.
When I think about momentum, I think about snow. So snow is falling from the sky, and there's these little tiny snowflakes. And those are like thoughts. Let's just say it's as insignificant and as small as a thought, the little tiny snowflakes. But then, as these thoughts start to compound on the ground, then all of a sudden, these thoughts multiply. And then to go even further, think about getting this thought and putting it in a snowball. And it starts as something that can just be in your hand, and you have to mold and shape, mold and shape. And then you keep adding snow to it, mold and shape to make a perfect snowball. But eventually, the snowball will get so big that you can just push it along the ground, and you have these giant snowballs that you could potentially make a snowman. And that's how I think about momentum, is it starts with like your thoughts. Yes, maybe thoughts come in as easy as just falling from the sky, but then eventually you have to work to mold them to create a small snowball. So having thoughts that might be negative, they came in easy, they're negative thoughts, but then molding them to be like, okay, how do I filter this negative thought to be positive? How do I filter this thought to be something that doesn't serve me? How do I discard it, get it out of my brain? And then eventually, once you do that molding, that shaping work, then all you have to do is just push the snowball on the ground, and these positive thoughts begin to multiply. It becomes easier to be positive. It becomes easier to push forward with positive momentum if you just do the initial molding work. And that is true for positive thoughts, but just as true for negative thoughts. So be careful what you're feeding. If you're feeding negative thoughts, if you're feeding positive thoughts, then how easy are they to multiply?
Kind of reminds me of what you said to me in Hawaii when we were running. And I think we were talking about walking when we run. You said that like every single time I had a thought of stopping, I had to sprint. And that was like how you sort of kind of trained your mind and yourself to not think those thoughts. Because I feel like every single time, it like, I remember when I was running my last, not Hawaii, the marathon before, I got to, I think it was like 25 miles, and I knew I'm not going to hit my goal time that I wanted to. And I started thinking like, oh, what's the point now? I already missed my goal time. I might as well just stop and walk and, things like that. All the things that you usually think. And especially because people around me started stopping and everything like that, how I had to like, no, you got to keep going. And I try to like keep thinking it's fine. Like if you miss your goal time for like few seconds, it's not, you still tried your best and you still kept going. Don't think about what everyone else is doing. Don't think about all the bad things, that you're not getting your goal time. Think about the fact that you're still going to keep going and you didn't give up and you tried to achieve what you set out to achieve. And I remember that helped me at that point, but I have never been able to put into words until in Hawaii you told me about that, that you made a deal with yourself. If I want to
Yeah.
stop, I have to sprint.
It works because, if you're like, oh, I'm tired, I want to stop or I want to slow down, but then you start sprinting, you realize how much capable you are, how much energy is actually in your body. And then that also helps because it's like, oh, if I don't want to sprint, I better not think about stopping. And it
Yeah,
kind
because
of
you're
just
just like,
rewires your brain. It adds to the momentum of where your thoughts go. So it was some tough love that I taught myself, but I really found it was effective, especially at the beginning of me wanting to kind of start pushing my limits. It was more about getting faster and stronger rather than just completing a mission.
interesting. I also want to ask you within these two races, one hard hard moment you had?
Well, for the Rocky 100, C and I are very close. So, one hard moment I had was just making sure that I was strong enough for him to lean on because metaphorically and physically, there were times where he was too weak to go uphill, and I would go behind him and push him up the hill to get him up there. And so I was very well aware of the influence I had at that time. So I think it was like being careful with my words, making sure what I was saying only added to his momentum in a positive way. And then also in my own body language, I should say, I never wanted to appear tired. So I always wanted to have good posture. When we were running, I was upbeat, I kept smiling. And that in itself was just a lot of energy that I had to exert mentally. That I think probably once I got to the finish line, I was like exhausted. And I wouldn't necessarily say that that was hard, but that's definitely where I focused the most energy was how do I summon enough energy for myself, but then double the energy for him so that way he can borrow some of my energy to fuel his run. And so I think that was probably the most challenging part, or in your words, like hard part about it. And then in the Austin Marathon, it's a much shorter distance, and this was this person's first marathon. So the hardest part about that was just, it was uncharted territory. He's never ran past 13 miles at that point. So, going with somebody for the first time when they've done 18, 19 miles, it was more making sure that they were capable because also the person that I paced, he had to learn how to walk 3 times in his life. He was paralyzed at one point. So it was more not necessarily my attitude, it was more taking care of him or watching over him to make sure that we got him to the finish line in a responsible way because it wasn't a mindset game. His mindset was fine. He didn't need me to help him with his mindset. He was smiling, having a good time regardless. It was more of making sure that he got to the finish line without any injury and that we did it successfully in a way that fulfilled his bucket list item.
Okay, well, the next question was magical moment, but I feel like both of those moments were also magical.
Yeah. Also, in addition to the magical moment, it's just crossing the finish line, and like literally, I could cry just thinking about it. Both times, watching C cross the finish line and watching Zach, that moment of fulfillment for them just fuels me so much. It makes my heart just light on fire, and that gratitude, seeing them feel so happy, accomplished, proud, just makes me feel happy, accomplished, and proud. So, yeah, I would just say like the magical moment in it is successfully completing the mission and being able to share that moment with them in a way that's just celebrating them. It's not about me at that moment anymore, but still being a part of their journey and adding to the happiness, the celebration that they feel.
We are both crying. We need a minute, okay?
Oh
Oh,
god. And my
I
face
want
is
to
all
give
red
you
and
a hug.
sunburned, crying. Ah.
It's just the girls. No, but like I was watching your video when you crossed the finish line and you said nothing, this feeling never grows old. And I was tearing up for just thinking how you feel at that moment. Because I feel like you can run any races and you can cross any finish lines, as many as you want, but that feeling never goes away. It's always there because, yes, we can run long distances and we can do those things, but I don't think it ever goes away.
It doesn't go away, and if you're a runner listening to this, I would just encourage you that you try so hard to remain present in those moments because you'll never get the same feeling twice. The feeling doesn't grow old. You don't get used to it, but it's never the same experience twice. So, what it feels like to accomplish your first marathon, you only can experience that once. So, make sure you feel that moment once. What it feels like to break a PR for the first time, you only get to experience that time of PR once. And we've all had moments where we PR'd and it was like the greatest feeling ever. But now we've done so much work that we're so far from that PR that it is insignificant. Like, oh yeah, we all know what it felt like to break sub 2 on your half marathon. But now I'm closer, I'm trying to get into the 120s. So it's like the sub 2 doesn't hold the same substance as it once did. But at no point will it ever take away from the time I broke sub 2. And for me now, pacing, no experience will ever be able to bottle what it feels like to get someone else to the finish line. So even though it is so rewarding, make sure to stay present because you'll never feel that feeling more than once.
I'm just thinking about all the races that I have had, and I realized that every race meant something else. One race was about the first marathon, one race was going first time abroad. Well, I am living in a different country than my home country, but that was a bit different. And like every single race has had a different why I'm running it. And I feel like that gives a whole new experience when I cross the finish line. And that's so interesting as well because now that I look at all the medals, but it's not even about the medals, to be honest. Like Saturday when I finished that challenge, I cried because I was like, how did I just pull that off? But I think I just had so much gratitude for all the people that supported me from far away. Like nobody was there, I was doing it on my own. So I had so many people. And I think that is what hit me. And I think we all have different reasons for each race. And I agree that we need to kind of like, I don't know, the last 100 meters or something when you cross the finish line, you're kind of like, this is why I did it and I did it and like soak that emotion in and just experience it.
Yeah, I feel like running is just such a beautiful experience in so many ways that's far beyond running. Just the philosophy of running in itself can be so fulfilling in life. Just make sure that if you're a runner, you're running for the right reasons. And if you don't know what the right reasons are, just start asking yourself, why do I run?
I think I was thinking about that a lot on Saturday when I was running, that running is so much more than running. Because, like, yeah, people see us run so much, but they don't know some people that don't know how it is when you're so passionate about something like running, you don't realize that running is not about running. Running is about, for every single person, running is about something else. Like for me, it's, for example, to show, that's the whys. We all have our different whys. So it's sometimes hard to explain to people why I run so much because a lot of people maybe wouldn't understand because we all have different reasons.
For me, I'm very strategic on who I am friends with, who I spend a lot of my time with. So obviously, you're like my best friend in every way, but it's so obvious because look at us. And it's not just because it's like, oh, she likes to run, I like to run. It's like there's a million people out there who like to run.
Mm.
That's not it. What draws me to you, what makes me appreciate and value our friendship is simply that we share a common philosophy on why we run. And again, going back to the momentum thing, you're building your own little snowball and I'm building my own snowball. And then every once in a while we come together and we're like, look how big we made these snowballs. And then we put them together and it just multiplies twice as fast.
Mm.
And I think that goes with partners, romantic partnerships, friendships, and just overall like who I choose to spend my time with. So just be careful who you surround yourself with, I guess. And run for yourself, run for others, and like give your energy to the people who like the momentum will value them as well.
I agree. I agree. I think a lot of people don't understand and don't want to understand for some reasons. And it's kind of, I loved it that when we started talking and you were like, oh, what do you want to do when we meet? And I was like, run. I was like, he was like, yes, me too.
No, literally, it was like so funny because people are like, "What did you do when you were in Hawaii?" I was like, "I ran." They're like, "What else did you do?" I was like, "No, you don't understand. That's all I wanted to do was run."
Yeah,
Like, and we
that's what
ran
we did.
everywhere. We didn't even take Ubers. We're like, if we just run through the city, we'll experience so much more. So we ran everywhere we wanted to go. And then, like, we had the marathon, but the 3 days leading up to the marathon, we were in the woods doing crazy hikes, getting lost. Like, it was way more fun. So yeah, but if I was like rooming and boarding with anybody else and they're like, "Good morning, what do you want to do?" and I said run and they're like, "Girl, that it just slows my momentum down. It dims my light and for what? It's like be careful who you surround yourself with."
And also, I think about like the whole thing that we literally ran every single day before the marathon. We got lost in woods and everything. It would have, we would not be able to do that maybe if we put too much pressure into the race. If we were kind of like, oh, we need a certain paces, we need to hit this. Whereas when you just go out and just want to experience the thing, so what if you ran the day before? So what if you got lost for 2 hours, not knowing where to get out of the woods and stuff? So I think us just having fun and experiencing things together helped us also have good time before the race. Because the initial reason we went there was for the race, right? But as C would say, it's an event, not a race.
I
So we
think
went for an event, not for the race.
in addition to that, I've been thinking about how my legs are never fully charged. I basically run on tired legs almost every single day between just daily miles, the 50-mile pacing. I'm racing back to back weekends. Um, my legs never feel fully fresh. And a part of me sometimes wonder, like, what would happen if I deloaded or if I started a taper? Would I feel better? But at that point, who cares? Like, I almost enjoy having tired legs and pushing through that because that's what feels like the new normal. And I think that feeling alone is having the zero expectation. If you have fresh legs, you're expecting yourself to perform. But if you have tired legs and you think about stopping, but now you have to sprint, it like takes
Yeah,
away
you
the
can't stop because
expectation.
then you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. I think, yeah. So, in addition to that, it just made me think about how people are like, you need to taper before a race. And that alone adds expectation on how you need to perform on your race day.
Okay, as we come to the end, I do have quick fire style questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
Is that is that okay?
Yeah. I'm scared.
Tell me about weird race habits you have.
Uh,
You don't taper,
I don't,
as we
that's true.
asked.
I don't deload and I don't taper very much. I would say like weird race day habits that might just be a little untraditional is I like film everything. So not only am I showing up to the events, I'm also thinking like how do I tell this story? And someone who doesn't make content, that can be kind of weird because I have to show up like early so I can do a come run this marathon with me and I need to take all the BTS before and when you're running, I'm like mile 1, mile 2, that could just be like a little weird race day habit, I guess, that not everybody has to do when they're running or get to do, I guess, would be a better word. I don't know if that's weird, but just a little niche for like content creators.
But I get that it could seem weird, but I also wish I did that more because I spent quite a long time in my life where I didn't take any pictures, I didn't take any videos, anything like that. Sometimes it seems like a little bit cringe when you're like filming and things like that, but then I wish I had videos from that race. I wish I had photos from that race. So now I'm kind of being more mindful of, oh, yeah, I want to take a picture of this. I want to take a video of this. And I mean, you go in a whole different levels from that. But I also like love that because you tell the story so well that you just go on your page, your Instagram, and you just like, it's so much fun. And if anything, you just look at it and it inspires you to go out and have fun too. My weird race habit is I need to make sure I go to the toilet in the morning. Which
Oh,
is probably not weird because everyone, I think, try and do that. But yeah, I can't run a race if I haven't been to the toilet.
that's fair.
I'm not going to the start line. Okay, the next one. I already know the answer, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe we need to, have a little bit discussion of this. Worst fueling choice.
Ooh, pickle juice.
Are you besties now?
Honestly, that experience is so funny. I was even running Austin Marathon, and so many people on the course were like, Taylor, how's your pickle juice? It's like becoming a meme at this point. Basically, if you don't know the story, in my 100K ultra, I filled my bladder up 4 times with pickle juice because I just thought there will be a time I don't want to drink water. I always want to drink pickle juice. Let's just get ahead of the curve. And not for 1 second did I think about how much sodium that was. And I ended up gaining 4 pounds in one day. I blew up like a strawberry. Like I was so big and I had so much fluid, I guess, bloat from taking in so much salt. And it took me 4 days to recover and be able to detox all of that. So that's the joke, but that was definitely an ultra rookie mistake for the books. Like I hope I don't make any other mistakes that severe because that could have been really bad.
That was crazy when you showed your hands. I was like, girl, what have you done?
My whole body looked that way. Like my ankle literally was the size of my calf, and my knee was the size of my thigh. And like my thighs were just so big. I've never seen my body that big in my entire life to the point where like there was no definition at all. Like I just looked like a hot dog with hot dog limbs. Like it was so bad.
How much is it? Like 4 gallons? No, that's too much.
I asked chat, I can't remember exactly, but it was like 38,000 milligrams of sodium. Like it was
Oh my God.
insane.
Okay, my worst fueling choice. I'm actually struggling with fueling, if that makes sense. I think my stomach is quite okay to, if I need gels, I can take gels. And if I need food, I can take food. But I think at some point I just struggle to eat in general. So I need to work on that. But I haven't had a pickle juice story.
Consider yourself lucky.
Okay, the next one is something embarrassing mid-run.
Probably the first time I shit myself on a run. Yeah, I feel like I probably should say this publicly, but like another one bites the dust. It's me. Like it's the cute blonde girl in the Lululemons. It was me.
The
Um,
pink Lululemon.
No, worse, white. I was wearing
Oh
white
my God.
Lululemon shorts this day. I was in Del Mar, California, which is a pretty nice area. It's on the beach. Everyone and their mom was walking their dogs and their babies and enjoying their Sunday afternoon with their significant others. And I'm running past them in white Lululemons. And the worst part of this all was that I did not know that it happened. It was just that I stopped at a public restroom, and obviously, when I sat down to pee, I can see my shorts, and I was like mortified. Like, immediately, like, what do you mean? Like, what just happened? And I was on a 15-mile run. At this point, I was only 5 miles into my run. So I was just so embarrassed. They were white shorts. I couldn't help but to think about all the poor people I passed on the way. I don't even know when it happened, when. And so, anyway, I called my brother and I asked him to bring me dark shorts. He came, he brought me dark shorts. I changed. And then I finished my 15-mile run, and that was probably the beginning to very long, crazy experiences since then.
I mean, I probably would never wear any other color than black
Oh, I'm
shorts
so
or like,
insecure moving forward. Even my light colored pastels, I'm insecure. Like I can't. I'll never be the same after that.
yeah, I don't, I actually don't even own any other color than black shorts or black leggings because I just have, what if?
Consider yourself
Yeah, I don't know.
lucky. You're
I
you're like
mean,
you're the poster child, and I'm the wreck over here.
you're experiencing everything for both of us. literally, you go through all that. And I'm just like, okay, Taylor did this. I'm not doing it. Taylor did that. I'm not doing it.
Glad at least people can learn from my mistakes. Oh god.
I mean, if you run and you have never had that situation where you're almost pooping yourself, are you even running?
I don't know, but when I'm in
Like,
races
for
and I
real.
see when I see the signs that are like "Don't trust a fart," I low key get PTSD. I'm like, I don't. I like look away. Don't make eye contact. Don't manifest that on me.
This one is a bit more serious than pooping question. But what is the next distance that scares you a little?
Moab 240. I'm sitting on that wait list. I keep moving closer and closer to getting off that wait list. I just trust like what's meant for me will be for me, and if I get off the wait list this year, then like I'm gonna conquer it. But if not, I'll try again next year. But regardless, I'm gonna keep training as if I'm getting off the wait list. But yeah, after running the 100 mile with C, I looked at him and I go, "Can you imagine doing 140 more?" And the facial expression he gave me alone let me know that I was in for a treat. So I definitely want to do a 100 mile on my own first, get familiar with that distance, experience it, then obviously go to 200, get familiar, experience. And then at that point, what's 40 more on top of 200? So, two.
Another day in the office. It's
So
literally that when you put 50 miles, I was like, yeah, another day in the office.
definitely scare worthy. What about you?
I think okay, maybe I am a bit delusional, but I want to run 100K, but I don't think it scares me.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't
it's kind of like I was like, "Oh, I know if I can run 50K, I can run 100K." Like it didn't scare me in that way either. It just humbled me severely.
mm. So, because I think like Saturday I ran 77K, which is half marathon away from 100. Um, so I don't think 100K scares me. I know I'm not saying like it would be hard. I know it would be really, really hard, but I think I do want to do 100 mile race.
Should we do a 100 mile sleepover with the girls?
Do we
Run
do
all day,
it?
sleep all night, run all day again?
Do we do it?
Yes.
Because I'm in, but I also,
Imagine us
I,
filming a podcast episode on during our 100 mile.
oh my God, I think, you know what? I would actually love it because I feel like every single time something, when you are in that moment and you have these races and these big events, there are parts that I don't remember. It's a
Hmm.
blur, you know? And I feel like having that on you, like the microphone or the camera or taking the videos or anything like that, is just, as I said before, I love that because even now when Saturday I was like recording some videos and I'm like looking back at it, I was like, oh, I don't even remember saying that. But going back to what scares me a little, I really want to do a backyard ultra. I really want to try and do it. I don't know how far I would be able to go, but I just feel like I would be able to push myself differently than I would be able to push myself, let's say, on 100 kilometers. Because even because I feel like on 100K, I have the goal. You know, I need to get to 100K. You know how we were talking that previous episode, where you kind of set your mind to 10K and then you do the 10K and then you go home and that's it. But what if you go out and you don't have the expectation of how far you're going to run? You just run. And when you, I don't know, get tired or bored or whatever it is that it happens, or you need the toilet, let's say, then you go home. You know, well, I feel like on Backyard Ultra, you just run and you just keep going, and there's no end point, and you can't prepare yourself or set your mind to a distance.
You're way more competitive than I am, but you do got that competitive dog in you, and you'd probably
Oh,
crush a backyard, like kill it. Like
I don't like to lose.
I'm the golden retriever. I'd be like, "Good job, good job." I'd be telling
Let's
all my
go. You were
competitors.
like to everyone.
My competitors are like wanting to opt out, and I'd be there at their feet, being like, "Come on, one more, you could do it."
Honestly, if I ever do a backyard ultra, you're gonna be in my team. There's no other way. You're gonna be
Yeah,
coming with me.
I wouldn't let you quit, honestly, because there was a time in the 100 mile that C questioned DNF, and he was like, he said it out loud. And I just told him, I was like, well, thanks for telling me that. I'm glad the thought came to you, but let's let it go as soon as it came. And we never talked about it ever again, you know?
Mm.
So I think like who you have on your crew makes a big difference on, yeah, like where they put the momentum. Because if he was pacing with someone else and he told them that and they were like, yeah, dude, like you already ran 80 miles, that's good, like try again next year, like then it just adds momentum to that snowball and he could have easily DNF'd because yeah, what momentum do you have? So if you were like in a backyard, you know, I'd be crazy. I'd be like, Katia,
Mm.
you
You're like, you're
think
gonna crawl if you have to.
literally, I'm like, think about it. That guy has 2 legs. I was like, you have four. Get on your hands and knees.
No, but there's this saying, you're as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt I'm not saying if, when I'm doing a backyard ultra, you're gonna be in my team.
Girl, we
Let's
need to
let's
move to the same
manifest it.
country ASAP.
Oh my God. Yesterday I should have been on a plane 2 months ago. I should have never even left. Why did you put me on the plane?
Oh my god.
We also received few questions on Instagram from the listeners, and one of them said, "What are some good leg workouts to build strength as a runner?" I have spent quite a long time doing a lot of single leg exercises, which are Bulgarian split squats, single leg RDLs, hip flexor where you raise your leg. But I think I'm not a, coach or anything like that, but it's just what has worked for me is anything that is single leg exercise, because obviously running is single leg movement. Making sure that you train each leg separately, that has helped me massively to be able to run these distances, and I would say run somewhat fast as well.
Nonetheless, great episode, Kit. What are you grateful for?
I'm thankful for universe, because I don't know what is in the air, but like when I was running the February challenge, I literally recorded a video 10 laps in 40 miles, and I said, my mind is giving up. At this point, like I was struggling mentally to keep going. And as I finished the video, you called me. And I was like, how is this even possible? Because I literally just said, I'm struggling, put my phone down, and you called me. And you was like, hey, beautiful, how are you doing? And I was like, how is this even possible?
No.
You know? So I don't know what's in the air, but I think it just shows how your things that you think about and things that you put out actually mean. Because at that point I was thinking like it would be great like if you called me or something, like I needed something at that point. So yeah, I think I'm grateful for you that you called me, but I'm also grateful for whoever is looking after me is looking after me really well.
No, that's beautiful. I'm gonna cry. Don't
No,
let
don't
me cry
cry.
twice on one podcast.
Double nothing.
I'm grateful for pacing. Right now, I did back-to-back weekends pacing. It's just such a beautiful experience. It's different than racing, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in a position physically and mentally to just do those distances selflessly for somebody else. So I'm grateful for pacing.
You're the most selfless person ever.
Okay, don't want to cry 3 times in one podcast.
No, honestly, I don't have words.
No.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. If you got this far, we appreciate you. We love you. We're sending you all the positive momentum to build your little snowballs bigger and in the direction you want them to grow. Last words, Katia?
Bye.
Let's rock.
No, wait. Okay, now, thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next episode.
Okay, bye. Let's rock.